So World's Strongest Man are really putting out the info this week, which is great to see. Massive improvement, obviously, from a fan's perspective. And it's great to see that they're pushing things and trying to make this show as good as possible. Yeah, great to see all the information starting to come out. So we've got all the athletes. We know who's going there to compete. Now we have got the finals events as well as the heats events. But before we get into that, I'll give you a little bit of information that I've received about a couple of the heats events. So a lot of the information obviously is just sort of subject to change, but as it stands at the moment, I've got some information about the Titans toss and the stone medley, which some of you might be interested in. We'll go into the Titans toss. It's basically going to be 10 sandbags. They're 14 kilos. The bar height's going to be just under 4 meters, and they're going to be lined up in pairs. So it's head to head and each person. So there's 5 pairs of sandbags. So the first 2 are 6 meters away from the bar. The next 2 are 7 meters away, then 8 meters, then 9 meters. And finally, there's 2 that have got to be thrown from 10 meters away over the bar. Now, I've never seen this done before, apart from some of the guys who have been training it. I've not seen it done in competition. I think it's a cool spin on it, something a bit different. And I think that seeing the guys launching those sandbags from that sort of distance is going to be quite an impressive sight. So it's head to head as well, which obviously is going to be interesting. It's very different. A lot of the time the throwing events are single events, but this one's actually going to be head to head. It is subject to testing, obviously, but as it stands at the moment, that is what the event is going to be. I think that anytime they're putting in a new event or an old event with a new spin, it's always interesting to see how it pans out and what happens. And are we going to see the same guys that normally do well on the throwing for height do well on this as well? We don't know yet. So it's definitely going to be an interesting one. And obviously the guys have known about this for a while, so they've been training hard for it. So I'm sure they're well prepared. Next, we're going to talk about the stone medley. I've got some information on that. Now, a lot of people don't know what it entails and what's in the event. You just know that there's going to be a number of stones lifted, but I'll take you through it. So the first one is called the block stone, which is a press overhead. It's going to be ranging from 115 to 125 kilos. Not sure on the shape of it yet, but I know that all the stones are being made by Mr. Steve Slater, who is affiliated with Rogue. So they're actually being made specifically for this event. So they'll all be nice, well made. I mean, anyone that knows about Steve Slater's logs and stones and stuff like that, if you've been around the strongman community for a long time, you'll know about some of the work that Steve's done. And it's great to see he's doing this for World's Strongest Man as well, because he does make quality equipment. Next up, we've got an inver stone to shoulder. So it's a press, now it's a stone to shoulder. The weight on that is going to be between 150 and 160 kilos. Then we have got a Husserl stone, which is between 170 and 180 kilos, which is going to be carried down and dropped onto a Rogue crash mat. So they're picking it up off a platform, running it 20 meters, putting it down. And then last but not least is what they're calling the foundation stone, which is basically going to be loading it onto a barrel / plinth. So I'm guessing the height's going to be around 4.5 foot. And the weight of that is between 190 and 200 kilos, so it's going to be heavy. Now, this is going to be a timed event, so it's not like a sort of back and forward like with a stone off. This is going to be who can do it the quickest. And I remember they did an event similar at the Arnold, and I really enjoyed it. I think the weights are pretty much spot on for the guys, so I'm interested to see how this pans out as well. And I think that it's nice to see a new spin on it. Right, so last but not least, let's get into the final events. So first we've got the Knack, carry and hoist. They're going to be carrying, I believe, toolboxes. It's like going to be some sort of like Zercher carry, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I think pretty sure that's what it is. And then they're going to be hoisting which is like an arm over arm hoist. So doing a Zercher carry of sorts, you might have seen, I think I saw Stoltman's train a Zercher carry. Now that makes sense. And then they're going into an arm over arm, which is a hoist type equipment. Obviously, Knack have been involved for a few years. Great guys and really sort of positive about strongman. Really sort of involved, which is fantastic. Obviously, any companies that get involved with the events. And yeah, they're always sort of thinking. I remember even they did a deadlift with a toolbox on each end, which actually worked really well. So they're always trying to come up with ideas of how to include their stuff in the events. Next up, we've got the 18-inch max deadlift, which is similar to, well, it's the same as 2020, I believe, with the big stainless steel wheels. I think we did that, yeah, 2020, and in the final it was done. And I believe Alexi did about 550 kilos, which I think is the record. I know recently he did an exhibition lift, which was above that, on a slightly different setup, but whether that counts as a world record, I don't know. I'd lose track of it all. But on this bit of equipment, I believe that Alexi's record is 550 kilos, so that should be cool to see. After that, we have got the Hercules hold, which when you compare it to the Giants Live one, you find that a lot of the guys don't tend to do quite as long at times. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say it's just because it's maybe a little bit heavier. It could be that the handles are slightly different as well. I know that Felix did an exhibition at Worlds in 2020 when they did it, and he actually didn't break any record, and he actually, his time got beaten by JF Caron, I believe, who won the event. Felix didn't actually do that. Well, obviously on the Giants Live one, he holds the record by a mile over what everyone else has done. Now, the handles on the Giants Live one are quite thick. They're quite thin. And so if you've got gigantic hands like Mark, it kind of gets lost a little bit. So it is a little bit trickier for some of the guys. But I think anything sort of around a minute is generally pretty good on this one. So, well, I say pretty good, exceptionally good. You're going to be in big points if you get a minute. After that, we have got the Flintstone Press Max, same as 2022. They did a behind the neck press. Obviously, we've just seen something similar at the Arnold's. They did it at Worlds in 2022. Some big numbers got hit at the Arnold's. Some big numbers got hit the last time they did it at World's Strongest Man. It's kind of a cool event. It looks cool, especially with the Flintstones on the end. I always like things that are not barbells and plates. Personally, I think it just looks a little bit cooler with big rocks on the end of the bar, but that's just my personal preference. So we should see some big numbers there and potentially world records as well getting broken. And then last but not least, we've got the Atlas Stones. Well, as regularly they are at World's Strongest Man, be the same sort of setup, same sort of platforms, I believe, and quite a heavy set. I think the last two are 200, then 210 kilos. So big weights on the stones for a heavy run. Obviously, the last stone is not the heaviest you see, but they're all pretty heavy, all 5 stones. So should be a cool event. But all in all, I mean, good mixture. I mean, some people, I think, don't overly like the Hercules hold as an event, but some people love it. And I know as an event, for me, I like doing it because I was good at it. So yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of the events are going to be personal preference, what type of event you like. You know, I would have loved a Hercules hold at times at World's Strongest Man that I didn't get, and I also would have loved a truck pull if I was in this competition. I perhaps wouldn't have liked the behind the neck jerk because my shoulders haven't been flexible enough to be able to do that for a very long time. So, you know, you got to sort of look at it as they might not be the events that you would choose necessarily, but I do think that we're going to get some good entertainment and some good performances from all the guys. Now, depending on who makes the final, we could see a couple of world records. One thing I would like to say, I love that they're doing 2 maxes. I think that it's very cool that they've sort of gone down that route of 2 max events in the final. I think that obviously, you know, when you get into the top 10, you should be testing some top end strength, and it's nice to see something that's sort of not the run of the mill, everything for reps, or one event as a max and one event as reps. We're going, you know, full steam ahead with the strength stuff. Big 18-inch deadlifts, some massive weights are going to get lifted on that. The behind the neck press, jerk, however you do it, is going to be some big weights as well. And yeah, overall it should be pretty cool. But hopefully that info about obviously the heats events is interesting to you, and I'm really looking forward to these final events. Now, the next thing is obviously getting the groups and things like that. So, I mean, luckily I'm not involved in those conversations. I know that all the team that are putting together these groups are going to have a hell of a job selecting where everyone goes and sort of working it all out. Obviously, there's not technically a seeding system, but they won't want the top 5 guys all in together, obviously. So there is going to be a little bit of that goes on. And obviously different personalities, they kind of want it to blend as well. So they will do a little bit of a sort of putting the top 5 guys in each group, and then who they see as sort of the next guys, and then sort of just mixing them around and things like that. So different nationalities, different personalities, stuff like that. So it is going to be interesting. I think I wouldn't want the job of having to pick these groups just because everyone's so good. Yeah, it's a hell of a lineup. There's no one there that you can say, oh, you know, they're not really up to much. They're all exceptionally good. And I think that there's going to be some shocks, in my opinion. I think, you know, we've all sort of put these big predictions out there, or we've got these thoughts of like who the top guys are in the world. And I think we could see a lot of that change this year. Some guys that we expect to make the final might not. Some guys we expect to place top 3 might not. I do see quite a lot of upsets coming, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think it's great that when you build the platform of all the athletes rather than just the top guys, you know, I think that's a positive thing. You need to sort of obviously give all the guys a fair shot at stuff, and if we see some new guys replacing some of the old guard, then that's a positive thing too. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed that, getting that bit of information, and I'll catch you soon with more information. Obviously, if I can dig any more out from behind the scenes and get some more information out to you, I will. And obviously, yeah, I will do my best to do that. So catch you later. Take care.